Welcome back to Peril Pending, and today we're looking at the developing picture of Reform's finances. Would you believe it? The picture surrounding the financing of Reform UK seems to be getting murkier by the day. I know. Who would have guessed it? Reform UK looking bad, looking like they're doing something sketchy and protesting about it. No, what school do you go to, mate? Today we are looking at an article by Anna Isaac from The Guardian titled, Revealed, George Cottrell transferred $2 million to his mother days before her donations to Reform UK. Let's get into it. The convicted fraudster George Cottrell transferred a total of more than $2 million to his mother, Fiona Cottrell, in the days before her 2024 donations to Reform UK, The Guardian understands. And this might explain why Farage and Tice and Youssef and Jenrick and all the rest of them are all so tetchy when you bring up the financing of Reform. Because, again, I'm no banking expert. I'm not an accountant, as I've said before. But, this looks a little murky, especially considering George Cottrell's history with money laundering. Financial industry sources told The Guardian that Fiona received one deposit of $1.4 million and two tranches of more than $300,000 each, money she attributed to having come from her son, George, when bankers asked about the deposits. On each occasion, The Guardian understands, transfers were made 24 to 72 hours before Fiona made a donation either directly to Reform or via Britain Means Business, a fundraising vehicle for the political party, and I believe that's owned by Richard Tice, who is coincidentally deputy leader of Reform UK. Once again, if you just look at this objectively, you can see why this would be referred to as being sketchy. It doesn't matter which party it was. If you swapped this out for Labour, Lib Dems, anybody, knowing who these people are, this looks a little sketchy. So it's a wonder why they're not eager to have these investigations complete and conclude so they can prove, hey, I'm innocent and this investigation has proved it. That's what I would do if I was genuinely innocent. But I'm just a talking head on the internet. Fiona was one of the most important donors to the party in 2024, making secret as well as public donations. She gave two lots of £250,000 in May in 2024, which was disclosed transparently to the Electoral Commission. It can be revealed that these donations were preceded by a transfer of $318,878 and $328,815 from her son. All above board, I'm sure. It can now be revealed that sources have told The Guardian that $1.4 million was deposited into Fiona Cottrell's account by her son before she gave the 1.75 to Britain Means Business on the 10th of June 2024, just weeks before the general election. Again, obviously Reform are going to scream about how this is a witch hunt, how it's an establishment plot, but is that really the best course of action? Because I have a funny feeling that if the Greens, for example, were doing this, Reform would be the ones leading the charge, calling it corrupt. What about you? In total, George Cottrell deposited more than $2 million into his mother's account, The Guardian has been told. Taking into account her 2024 donations to Britain Means Business and Reform UK, Fiona gave a total of $1.5 million that year. And these amounts are roughly equivalent based on exchange rate data from May and June 2024. So I believe the insinuation here is that George Cottrell is the one that gave them the money, and that's obviously, I don't believe that's allowed under the Electoral Commission guidelines, unless it was disclosed that through the person who eventually gave them the money, they disclosed where it came from. And I don't believe that was the case. Reform, come on. Just because you think you're exempt from the rules doesn't mean you are. Two Reform UK sources who were involved in party fundraising before the 2020 vote told The Guardian that George had assured senior party figures that some money would be on its way into the party's coffers in the weeks leading up to the vote. They're quoted as saying he was acting as a sort of shadow treasurer, saying he found a way to get money in. Now that's a bit odd, because Reform have said that George Cottrell held no role in the party. Specifically, they told their councillors to say George Cottrell is an unpaid volunteer with no formal role at Reform UK. Of course, asked about the transfers, lawyers for George Cottrell said their client had no further comment. Yes, there's nothing that imbues people with, trust than the statement of silence. And as I had finished up putting this together, Robert Jenrick was asked about these exact findings. And, well, we're going to have a look at a little clip to see just how well he handles it. Because, you're going to hear the words coming from his mouth, but I tell you to look at his face, because that, I believe, tells the true story here.
Referring to were some time ago. This has been going on for a long time, but we are entirely confident that Reform followed all electoral rules at the time when the donations were made. Of course, we'll participate with any inquiries. To the best of my knowledge, we haven't even been contacted by the police, so I don't think we have anything more to add to that. I presume you don't have a question about the actual substance of the press conference today? No? Okay. Well, it would have been better to ask that one first, but if you want to actually ask about the issues that the public care about, then by all means.
You say that you're sure that the rules were followed at all time, but what explanation is there for George Cottrell transferring $2 million to his mother shortly before she made very substantial donations to Reform?
Well, firstly, on the donation, as I said earlier, Reform is certain that all the electoral rules were followed. If you've got a question for Mr. Cottrell, then I think you have to direct that to him. With respect to the tax proposal...
But he really doesn't answer questions, so I'm directing it to you.
Well, let me come to your second question.
His face tells the story, doesn't it? Honestly, he couldn't look more annoyed at the fact this is brought up. This was his moment to yell about a death tax, an imaginary death tax, and you're asking him about the dodgy finances of his party? How very dare you? And how very dare Robert Jenrick position himself as the arbiter of the public to say that, people actually care about what I'm talking about today. This made up bullshit. Nobody cares about the fact that my party might be an aid in a money laundering scheme. No, Jenrick, you don't speak for the people, and you never have. But those are just my thoughts. Please leave yours in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you next time, while the peril's still pending.